obviously as captains for this year that's really unlike any other. How's that experience been, and how have you kind of how has it been to kind of keep the team together and engaged and organized and on task and on goal with the fact that there's actually a lot of physical separation? There's people all over the country, there's people on campus, there's people off campus, there's people remote. Just how has that been, and what have been the challenges, and how have you kind of overcome those in the last couple of weeks?
Yes, it's interesting actually. So we have, some people came back on campus. I'm one of them. So we have a group here, and that's been, nice now that we're practicing at least, even though it's in pods, being able to see each other from a distance from the other pods each day, and get to see our coach from a distance. That's been a good way to kind of feel connected. And 7 other of us are on the team. And I'm living with them in 710 College Avenue. Nice house. That's been a good space for the team. But we also have a lot of people who are remote, including Matt. There's a big crew actually out in Wyoming right now. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to keep connected with the group on campus. Matt's got kind of overseeing, if you say it like that, or just kind of keeping connected the group in Wyoming. And we're trying to, coordinate efforts to have Zoom calls and try to make sure we still feel as one, even though we're across the country. And then we have a few others kind of scattered out at their respective homes. So it's definitely an odd experience, but in some ways, I guess it kind of worked out that even though there's a large contingent not here, they're still together, and Matt's out there with them.
Yeah, and I think like between the two groups and things, and like individuals sort of interspersed throughout the country, just like keeping up constant communication, something that we've been trying to do, Nathan and I, and we have one other guy who's been working really hard just to keep engaged, keep everyone engaged, and just part of the team sort of relies on this, like, just communication back and forth with each other. And, that's email, Zoom, meeting in person if you can. And I would say that's sort of been a big thing that we've been pushing for, starting in the summer when we sort of realized things were going to get a little bit hairy. We really tried to make sure that everyone's on the same page and everyone knows what's going on in the respective locations, and so that way everyone sort of has an idea and sense of how everyone else is doing.
Yeah, and I guess the nice thing about running is even if you're not with all your teammates, or you're just at home yourself, you can still get out and run. And our coach Tom's been sending out different training plans, so I think everyone's been doing a good job of following that and just trying to understand, like, running should not feel like pressure right now. It should just feel good, just get out each day, but also try to put in good work now, so that when hopefully in the spring, if we're able to compete in a track season, that we're ready.
Yeah, no, that you actually started answering my other question, so that's great. I was just curious how like workouts are going in terms of communication there, but it seems like you kind of answered that. The beauty of the sport, like you said, is it kind of can be probably the best sport for being remote, honestly. But anyway, I guess my second question just has to a little bit more to do with like the nature of being. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of answered it, but I'm just curious, like, in terms of the group that's actually here on campus, and your functional unit, is there more than one functional unit that's been going on campus? Like, or, because I know, like, I was talking to field hockey the other day, they have like 3 or 4 of these groups that are basically practicing in groups of 7 or 8. So is it a similar setup like that on campus?
Yeah, so we actually have 24 guys running on campus who are running cross country. So we have 3 groups of 8. So yeah, that's been how we've been practicing Monday through Friday.
And then Matt, I guess your little grouping out there in Wyoming, that's kind of a unique story. I was able to read the piece in the Clerk last week.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah, no, it was entertaining.
Good.
Just tell me a little bit about that. I think, like, obviously I've never been to Wyoming. I'm from the West Coast, but I've never been to Wyoming. Just like, seems like a pretty awesome environment for running. And just give me a quick overview of how that kind of came together.
Yeah, sure. So it's actually a really wonderful situation that we have out here. I mean, we've got 7 guys and then 2 people on the women's team who are out here currently, and so we have a really good mix of people, and it basically all came together. A few of us, when this we saw like what was going to go on with the school, we sort of were a little bit hesitant to return for various reasons,
Mhm.
and we ended up getting one of the guys who has family out here, and so that's how we ended up, in Casper, Wyoming, out of all places. Um, and yeah, I think the running has been really good. There's sort of, you know, 7 people is enough, to do sort of everything. Train easy, train hard, workouts, all these good things. There's a little bit of altitude going on, which is kind of cool. But I think we've got the same stuff. We have like flat runs, hilly runs, long runs. We're doing pretty much the exact same thing that the guys are doing in Philly,
Mhm.
just in a different location. And personally, it's been really cool to see another part of the country. I know I've been going, like socially distanced, of course, but just like to some national parks and sort of just exploring part of the country that I wouldn't otherwise on the weekends. Getting in some really good cross training like that, just like some longer hikes and things that aren't as immediately accessible in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia in particular. Uh, so I think we've been really trying to take advantage of the fact that we're in a different location from the other guys and not just sort of be separate, just like be with the team, but also, really just like go out and make the most of your time in Wyoming, safely, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's perfect. No, it's super illuminating. I think it's one of the more interesting stories that I've heard that's come out of the whole coronavirus era of everybody kind of having to adjust on the fly. I think it's an awesome example of that. So it's kind of funny to hear that, and especially in your role as a captain, kind of showing that a captain can be remote. Like that's another interesting aspect to it. So I think that's awesome. Now, I guess looking forward to, I I know there's still a lot of uncertainty about what the spring would look like, but in terms of cross country versus track, like is there any kind of focus on like, oh, we should be, you know, focusing more on track distances than cross country? Like it just seems a little bit interesting because there's so much up in the air, and obviously track seems like there's a possibility, but cross country has no real plan. Like there's no fall championship for cross country right now. So I've just kind of always had it in the back of my head, like how does that look like? Or you guys kind of just see it as like, we're going to go out and run and we're going to train the same way that we would train?
Yeah, so I guess right now we're still kind of training like we're like it's cross country season, doing like some like longer hilly runs, some like road workouts, stuff like that. And we're gonna try to have like a few time trials on the roads, kind of like cross country distances. And then kind of looking forward to next semester. Our coaches mentioned that the conference is talking about hosting a cross country season in just like February and March. And it would just end at the conference meet, that there wouldn't be any national championship because the NCAA already called it off. So right now that's the plan. Obviously, like that plan's not formalized. There's a lot of things can happen between now and then that might throw a wrench in it. But yeah, that's what we're thinking, and then hopefully having an outdoor track season in April and May.
Got it. Yeah, no, I was curious about that. I mean, I think it's kind of all just about flexibility right now and adapting to whatever might come. But no, I think that's great. Um, so in terms of off the track, off the course kind of activities as a team, have you had um, like have you found ways to kind of bond as a team outside of the sport, through like Zoom or stuff like that? I know I was talking to field hockey. They said this summer they did like a lot of Zoom like trivia nights and just kind of like social things like that kind of replaced what they used to do on campus. Just has there been any team bonding like that?
So I
You go
think
ahead,
that,
Matt.
yeah, I think so. Tom has sort of emphasized, like making sure that you're in a healthy routine and all of that stuff. And I would say that we've left a lot of sort of that social aspect to the individual. That's not to say we haven't had a good series of Zoom meetings. Just given the nature of the summer, I think they've all been more serious and activism focused this year. We sort of felt that that just was more important. And, you know, there's a really good sense of team bonding and community that came through that, I think. But as far as like trivia night and stuff goes, like I think that's sort of been lower on our priority list. I mean, like obviously priorities are school and then running and then, you know, just having a good time and making the most of it. But just, you know, making sure we're all focused on sort of the right things, I think at the sort of just like at the outset of the semester. And then we're probably going to try and incorporate some more stuff throughout the semester now that everyone's sort of gotten rolling. But as far as the summer goes, it was definitely more activism focused.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and that's good to hear. Awesome. Thank you guys for chatting, and good luck and keep it up. And yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks
Good
for
deal.
doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks
No
for
problem.
hosting us.
Yeah, of course.